my jam. I feel good.
What do you want to fucking talk about? This
I want to talk about short squeezes and congressional YOLOs.
Okay, let's do it. Larry David just called me to write season 11 of Curb Your Enthusiasm.
That's cool.
I'm kidding.
I know.
You got to put it out there. You got to put the vibe out there. You have to make your future. You have to, like Fibonacci. I'm Fibonacciing Larry David here. I feel like there's an extension. There's a Fibonacci extension in season 11 where I channel myself into Larry David's house and teach him he gets caught up in a short squeeze. Imagine this, Larry David gets caught up in the GME short squeeze. And then we do a spite short, right? It's like a spite store, but our whole goal is to bankrupt Goldman Sachs in season 11. It's a GameStop spite short. It's a perfect show.
So why does this bother people so much? What's going on? People are like, "Oh my God, this is crazy." Why do people say that?
As long as they're bothered, we can't. As long as everybody's bothered, we're good. It's when people stop being bothered that I get worried. People should be bothered. They're not participating. They have FOMO. That's natural. So what would be unnatural is everybody making money. And I honestly think there's a lot of people just talking a good talk, but stuck on the sidelines. I mean, I haven't made money on GameStop. I'm enjoying it, but I'm making money in other things. So
our Under the Hood report flagged it in September.
Really?
Yeah, I mean that's why we do these. That's why we do these scans. We do those scans because of that, Howard. Because these are stocks that are seeing an unusual increase in investor interest for whatever the reason. Now we know the reason. Obviously, we didn't know in September, but that's why we do that.
The average person cannot hold through this. It wouldn't be good. I mean, I'm sure there's people that have, Chamath bought flyer YOLO calls this morning. The stock was at 90. He bought like YOLO 115 calls February, and the stock closed at 200.
Yeah, but as a percentage of his net worth, it was
it was 50 calls. But
people were like, "Oh my God, he spent 100,000 on calls." Like, okay, that's. To you, that might be.
No, he didn't spend 100 grand. He bought 50 calls out of the money calls. He spent 20 grand maybe.
Oh,
no, but he probably made $500,000. Like that was a crazy YOLO. It was a fucking I don't have that in my genetics. I don't even know to think about buying 115 calls in a stock trading at 80 that was at $4. That's not even how I would look at the market. Yeah. If someone said how to do that, it would take me my head would explode. Like, why are you telling me to look that up? Like, what? That's like looking up weird things on Google. I just don't do that.
That's the funny part of the show. When you're teaching Larry David how to day trade, you're calling JC and Sean and being like, "Yo, so
it's a fucking show. I just don't have the budget." But it's like I only know one site: Pornhub. I know Twitter. I know like for Tinder. I don't know how to look up
All-Star charts, right?
YOLO calls of GameStop expiring in February, blah, 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 sentiment, YOLO, Wall Street bets, go. I don't know how to do half the shit.
Do you use Reddit? Are you a Redditor?
No, Justin's always been bullish on Reddit. It's just a skill that I think really sophisticated people are using who we make fun of.
I don't think they're that sophisticated.
Oh, they're sophisticated. They're sophisticated. They may not know they're sophisticated, but they're ahead of the curve. Here's the way it works. Twitter was a magical product, remains so. For people, there was the three bears or whatever, the too cold, too hot, this is just right. And Twitter comes along and disrupts real time. For people like us who just love living in the moment and trying to live a little bit in the future, Twitter's beautiful. It's like real-time information. There is some fake information, but there's a lot of signal there. If you go to Reddit, you are like living in the future, meaning 90% of it is nonsense, right? Because everybody's making shit up and like YOLOing, but 10% of it is like at 3 days ahead of everybody else, or at 6 months ahead of everybody else. And then you go to StockTwits, which is just a little slower than Twitter and a little more filtered. So it's like you have different social networks and different communities that do different things. And then you have your group chat, which is like 6 idiots, probably some days behind and some days ahead, right? So you've got to like meld it all together and find kind of the blankie that you use, like your routine that helps you routinely beat the market. You can't just go from Reddit to Twitter and be an expert in this and be an expert in that. It's fun to watch it all, but you got to stick in your lane when you're investing for the most part and find a strategy that works, build lists that surface ideas that make sense, and have a process for putting an idea on the sheets. And we're seeing people get blown up for breaking their rules. We're seeing some people make great money having no rules. Okay. Bull markets tend to do that.
Yeah.
You can't shit on a bull. That happens. Some people, commercial real estate agents did pretty fucking well in the early 2000s, and they were clueless people. And guess what? The ones that overstayed their welcome are homeless. And this will be the same way with the stock market. There are some people that are getting dragged along making a fortune that maybe shouldn't be making a fortune. And the markets will take care of those people. The people that put in good habits in place through good and bad markets and then find the right peloton or group of people to hang with, and come up with a system that allows them to like see what they're supposed to see and avoid more about avoiding being on the wrong side of something that will light you up is the key. I've been lit up, and guess what? Once you get lit up, you fucking remember that. I remember getting lit up in XIV more than I'll ever remember Robinhood making millions in Robinhood, losing a couple $100K in XIV. I remember XIV unbelievably well the moment it happened, where I was, what I was doing, why I shouldn't have done it. I can barely remember the first time I met Vlad and Baiju.
I remember I was on the phone with you as you were entering that.
I can barely remember all the details because it wasn't a moment that you knew was going to make you rich. It was a moment, just like any other moment, meeting interesting people with a great idea. The moment I lit up a couple $100,000 in fucking flames on my XIV trade, I remember what I was doing, where I was driving, who I was thinking of, what the fuck I should have been doing. I can't get it out of my head. So trust me, the people that are going to get XIV'd are going to get XIV'd. And then the good ones will remember that and try not to get XIV'd again. I
like how that's a verb now.
Yeah, the Robinhoods will come if you stay in the game long enough. The Apple 10 bag or the Shopify 10 bag or the GameStop's the fucking as a distraction. It's fun. It's a sexy story in a bull market, in a weird situation. It's not for most people. It's why the stock market's why I'm so bullish. Like people are playing. It's Roblox. The stock market has become Roblox. There's crazy shit going on, and then there's normal shit going on, and that's what's exciting, dude. That's the story.
Are you going to start using Reddit now? Is that going to be your new thing?
I can't. I'm old, and I use it in the sense. Here's what's good about Reddit now. Enough people are looking at it and like giving me the play-by-play. That's enough.
Right.
I don't want to delve into the.
What about the Clubhouse?
I got enough crazies in my life.
Are you Clubhousing?
This is what all the kids are doing now, huh?
This is what the kids are doing.
I am very early to Clubhouse. Gave it up pretty quickly because I don't like hearing myself pontificate. I believe, just like HQ Trivia, that Clubhouse should verticalize, and HQ Trivia made that mistake and thought they could do everything and blew up. I think Clubhouse is definitely something. I think it's very fun when my friends can get in a room and slowly, talk about a subject they really are passionate about. But once you start pontificating about 100 subjects, it becomes pretty boring. So I think very focused clubhouses are really interesting things.
So you think a year from now, Clubhouse is going to be a bigger thing than it is now? Everyone's going to be on it? Because I think it's like any cool toy. I think there's just so many ways to clone it and so many ways to hack it and so many ways, so hard to build an enduring. Bearish Clubhouse.
No, well, that's a great question. I'm bullish on audio. So, long AirPods, long Apple, long Spotify, bullish on a Clubhouse, like something like Clubhouse, if not them, 10 of them.
What are they doing wrong? Why don't
bearish on scaled communities? Like we've seen it with Twitter and Facebook. It's not cool.
Facebook's making all-time highs and Twitter's making new multi-year highs. What's wrong with Twitter and Facebook?
Compared to what? like niche social networks, like Pinterest and Snapchat, they're doing 100 times better. No, I think, yeah, they're great, but I'm saying, I think there will be niche clubhouses before Clubhouse is the big thing.
But aren't there niche clubhouses within Clubhouse? Isn't that the point?
Yeah, there's FinTwit of Twitter. I just think built specifically for communities in mind, audio is going to be the feature. The odds of Clubhouse being a massive winner is hard because of the competition and the fact that Facebook's social graph. And but it's fun. I mean, everybody who uses it goes through the different emotions, just like we did with Twitter and Facebook. I love it. I hate it. This is dumb. I got harassed. I don't know. I feel like it. So it's cool. What's cool is everybody thought there would be no more social apps, and now there is. Yeah. Right? StockTwits is growing faster than ever. Clubhouse. There's tons of TikTok.
Are you TikToking?
Howietown. It's a new app. You should try it. I'm an investor in a company called OO, 5 O's, live shopping. It's the #1 app in the UK.
I saw that you tweeting about that. What does that mean, live shopping?
Meaning they built it's like OnlyFans meets e-commerce, and people go on into a warehouse with like a beauty warehouse, and they're influencers and they sell product. And it's fucking kicking ass in the UK. So I'm bullish on, e-commerce, like the fact that TikTok meets sales, meets direct to consumer, man, it's fascinating. So
the Clubhouse doesn't have that aspect, which, right?
I think they're going to try and learn. Like Clubhouse is already rolling out programs where you'll be able to monetize your, Twitter, still, you can't figure out how to monetize the thing. So we're all dragging our customers off Twitter to try and monetize it instead of like everybody working together.
And then Twitter gets a cut of that.
No, Twitter's blowing. Jack's taking all the value out. We've talked about this 100 times. Square gets all the value. The board's letting them just extract all the value to Square. And Twitter's shareholders are left with a meandering stock.
All right, so let's talk about Nancy Pelosi and her husband YOLOing Tesla calls. People are getting all up in arms. How are they allowed to do that? This is, Oh,
I didn't read that. So, you don't read news. I don't read news. Once, the only reason I cared about news under the Orange Julius reign is because he was shitting in my neighborhood. Like I opened up Twitter, Trump. I don't know how to use Twitter properly to delete everything. And he was shitting in my neighborhood. So it bothered me. Just like you have a bad neighbor, you're trying to run him out of town.
This is technical analysis. You're analyzing the behavior of the market and market participants.
I didn't know that was happening. So they're being accused of YOLOing?
They're not being accused of anything. They're doing very legal transactions. They have to legally disclose what they're doing. They are legally disclosing it. People are offended because that's what people like to do is get offended. For me, I'm all for it. Let her YOLO all she wants.
Yeah.
Public information.
I don't get offended. I don't watch news. I only was very political about the person. In a world that all these people are just bore me to death, I'm not going to get dragged into it. I think they're nuts. I'm not Pelosi.
But there's good information there because these senators and reps, they have information that we don't. Yeah. So if they're acting on that information, that's useful, no?
Yeah, as long as we can find out about it in somewhat real time.
We do.
Yeah, then I have no complaints. These people are dumb. If she's dumb enough to trade against professionals, God bless her.
Why do you say she's dumb for trading? She has information the rest of us don't, and she's using that to her advantage.
That's illegal, probably, and then she's got to take the risk of what she's doing being illegal. I'm not a lawyer.
It's not illegal, though.
Okay, well, God bless.
That's what I'm saying. What's the problem?
Yeah. She can't move the market.
Exactly, especially with a few Tesla calls. Who cares?
Bring her on the game. More players, the better. That is my...
Dude, get her on StockTwits. Get her...
Rule number 1 of Howietown. The more players, the better.
Get Pelosi on StockTwits and we control her.
This isn't checkers. It's not me against you. It's everybody playing everybody. It's global multiplayer 24/7. Pelosi wants to play, let her on. Leave me alone, though. All you yelling about it, leave me alone. Block, 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 block.
Final trade.
Wow, that's a good one. What do I like?
Final trade.
Oh, what does that mean?
You get one trade. Go. What are we buying tomorrow?
Oh, I just had a great API API was like the video Twilio, and I was writing about it on StockTwits the last 2 weeks, buying it in the low 40s. It hit 55 today, so I can't say that. So what am I eyeing?
Ethereum.
I think Ethereum goes much higher. Okay, but it's not something I recommend. I think, but I'm not recommending it. I think Adyen is a company that will continue to benefit from ADYEY. It's a Dutch payments company. It's like
man, once you start getting into 5 letters in the ticker, it starts getting scary for me.
But I got a few of these 5 ticker ones right over the years.
Tencent, right?
So Adyen is the baby Stripe. It's an incredible company. It's minted many centimillionaires, and
it's only up 400% in the last year. So
yeah,
underperformer.
I'm just telling you, it feels like an 8 to 80 brand. It powers. If you go on Facebook and the rest of the world, and you're trying to do commerce, Adyen powers all that transactions, and their infrastructure. So you're never going to hear about them, and then in 20 years you'll say, "Oh, Adyen!" Like it's just going to become. It's just one of those trusted financial brands. So I think, that's kind of a trend that is, I like these ones that like everybody's using and no one knows the name. I had said the same thing about Twilio. I would say the same thing about Agora, which I said is API, which has kind of had a run here recently. But anything that's powering what people use, what's powering Clubhouse? Products like Agora, products like Twilio.
Are they?
Yeah. So they're the APIs that power all the usage that goes on. That's who Clubhouse has to pay: AWS, Cloudflare, Agora. So the more these the bigger the internet gets, as someone said to me, that's why Google is like hitting all-time highs. The bigger the internet gets, the bigger Google gets. And they're placing their YOLO bets on. I'm letting Google has a YOLO bet in Waymo that you get to participate in by owning Google, right? People overcomplicate this stuff. So I'm looking for names that just make sense. And they're all expensive now. So everything that we all are talking about is expensive on any kind of valuation that we
look at that sort of thing.
Yeah, if you look at that sort of thing. But I'm trying to do things that make somewhat common sense, and I'm trying to do things that don't move 70% a day, because I don't have the time or the inclination to worry about something that's willing to be that mispriced on a day-to-day basis is not interesting to me. I'm happy to average into dislocation of 20 to 30% moves if I understand the company, but I don't want my stocks moving 70% a day.
Last question, Super Bowl, who wins?
New England? The Toronto Argonauts? Who's playing?
The Saskatchewan Roughriders.
Meanwhile, there's 10 teams in Canada named Rough Riders. How hard is that to name a team differently? And there are 12 teams. The 2 of them are named Rough Riders. Like they couldn't get together and go, guys, quit copying. In the NFL, you got teams like Washington with no name. Hard to bet against KC. I mean, it's just hard to bet against that guy. There's just so many threats. But
what about betting against Brady? How's that worked out?
I don't know. I think Brady's 4 people. No one could look that good. I'm still waiting for the scandal.
KC. So KC?
Only you look as good as Brady does after all these years of wear and tear. Me, like 6 hours I look older. Every 6 hours I age. It's literally by the hour.
You look younger.
This morning I looked really good. And today, by the afternoon, I'm worn out and need a lot of work to get up the next day. No, I like KC, man. I like KC. Who do you like?
I like the food that I'm going to have. I got wings coming from Buffalo. I ordered wings from Buffalo on Gold Belly. You know how I roll.
You are such a pro.
Dude.
I had a big movement. I just started going to Trader Joe's. That's my Gold Bellies. I can't believe how good Trader Joe's is.
The Alaskan king crabs on Gold Belly are out of this world, dude. Out of this world.
Is it? If it worked with Adyen and Stripe, maybe.
Dude, how do we buy Gold Belly? Because they're doing it wrong.
My problem with Gold Belly, I click with my 9 fat fingers every day to try and get a pizza from Prince Street, and it always says empty.
It always says sold out.
Use their app. And by the way, if it was a good app, it would say, Howard, I know you've clicked on this 17,000 times. You fucking idiot.
We'll notify you.
We're going to be out of fucking, and you deserve to be our first call.
Right.
But in the meantime, your buddy fat.
But a deposit.
Cuban friend.
But a deposit, so you
Your
have first
Cuban
priority.
friend with the oily hair says you should get the crab legs from Buffalo or whatever the fuck.
Alaska.
And that would be a good app.
They don't have crab legs in Buffalo.
Then Goldbelly would impress me. But right now, all they're making me do is go like this and be disappointed every day. That's like Tinder for me. That might as well just be Tinder in high school. That's what happened to me in high school. Like it was always like not loaded. No matches. That was what it was like for me in high school. That's Goldbelly. I need Goldbelly to be Tinder Gold. I need
Call the
Goldbelly
CEO of Goldbelly and smack him around. Be like, listen, you're doing it wrong.
You know who's probably CEO? Jack Dorsey, just to fuck with me. He's probably the CEO of Goldbelly.
So good. I'm OG, overly grateful for the chance to kill the beat, bro. Kane and Abo ain't trying to lay low. Peep the shine, comfortable in my own.